Uh, Today will be our last lecture on BVC. So we conclude, we wind up the session with this. Before I finish the lecture, I would like to give you some closing remarks. But prior to that, let's move forward with the work that we have to do today. And other thing is, I informed you all yesterday that I will be finishing the lecture a bit early because I'll be flying tonight. So I'll be finishing the lecture at 7 o'clock since I have to get to the airport by 9:30 and I have to travel home and come back again. Yeah, anyway, we were discussing about some theory related to a 10-mark question. Actually, it was question number 15, 1-5. If you read question number 15, the requirement says, explain to TR with reference to theory the different management/leadership styles he could adopt to help him to become more effective in his role. So, leadership styles. Now, yesterday we discussed several leadership styles under different dimensions. There is another set of leadership styles that would be helpful for you. So I wish to take that and then come to the question. So let's go through these couple of slides. First point says, most leadership styles have two dimensions: task, concentration of what is to be done; social emotional, concentration of who is doing the task. So these are the 2 points that you have when it looks at leadership. Now, most importantly, most leaders have more ability in one dimension than another. Situational leadership style theory contains a range of 4 styles. This is the theory of situational leadership, which is telling, selling, consulting, and joining. So, leadership style of telling, leadership style of selling, leadership style of consulting, and leadership style of joining. Now, you would see a resemblance, you will see a link to the leadership styles that we discussed yesterday, which was like autocratic, democratic, bureaucratic, transformational, transactional, laissez-faire, and likewise. See, one thing that you would notice is that, some of the things that you see in the business world, it has the same type of occurrence, but different theories and different models look at it from different perspectives. It's sometimes the same thing. I'll give you a good example for that, because today is the last session. See, okay. Guys, if you take pricing under the marketing mix, pricing. One such pricing is a premium pricing. Premium pricing is where you charge a high price. So, premium pricing. So, when you explain premium pricing, you say premium pricing is adopted or implemented for products which has a certain value where it's a bit expensive and it's for a specific market. Okay, fine. Then, same thing you learn under the generic strategy. Porter's generic strategy, under you have cost leader and differentiation. Under differentiation, of course, it is the premium pricing that they use. Same thing. There is no difference there. If it's whatever the features that you discussed here, it is the same thing that is repeated here. Same thing. Okay. I'll give you another example. If you take segmentation. Under segmentation, we learn about geographical segmentation. Geographical segmentation is where you try to filter the customers in certain regions, because you can't sell it in mass, in large scale. For example, something like refrigerators. Now you can't sell it in a place like Norelia because it's very cold there. So it should be in, in the places where it's a bit hot, right? And then guys, under CRM, customer relationship management, there is a type called geographical CRM. I hope you can read geographical CRM, which talks about the exact same thing. Same thing. Right? Under segmentation, we have something called behavioral segmentation, where you look at customer behavior, what he likes. So then I said, if you go to Facebook, Facebook will have a count of how many things you liked and what you liked, and they will give that information to all the employers, so that whatever the customer base that's appealing, they know that these people have liked these products. Therefore, it's it's a good option for us to sell it to this customer group. So that's by identifying your behavior. Now, if you go to Amazon, as I said, if you go to Amazon and if you purchase certain books, next day when you come, it will say recommended, and blah, blah, blah. It will recommend the same type. So that's behavioral segmentation, that which analyze your behavior. Same story, you got under CRM, you got a behavioral category, right? The type of CRM doesn't come to my mind. It's not geographical. I don't think it's behavioral. Oh man. So if I let me quickly skim through. There you go. CRM. Exact. Analytical CRM. That slipped my mind. Let me come to the slide back again. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So, under segmentation, it was behavioral, and under this, analytical CRM. Same thing. Same thing. So likewise, guys, I can give you some more examples if you want. Under CRM, there is another one called operational CRM. Operational CRM is all about having good processes. In the marketing mix, there is a P called process, which is the same thing. Same thing. In the marketing mix, processes and operational CRM, but the description, same thing. But basically looking at it from a different point of view. Marketing mix talks about how you can have a good marketing strategy to develop the product and to increase your market share. Whereas CRM looks at how you can have your processes well so that you have a good relationship with the customer. But the point is the same. Argument is the same. So, this is the benefit that you get if you try to really understand the real substance behind these theories, rather than just merely, memorizing it or just understanding the bullet points under that. So basically, you will see a similar feature in this particular instance as well, where we learned about autocratic leadership, democratic leadership, laissez-faire, transformational, transactional, and you would see the same thing repeated again, but under a different term, under the situational leadership theory. So let's go through it one by one. Telling, this is how I want it done. This style assumes low group maturity, meaning little or no background expertise in the task area. The group has never worked together or it is an emergency situation. Leadership style is high in task and low in socio-emotional. It is often used by leaders who are not confident of their interpersonal skills, who do not see motivation, and they do not want feedback, right? So guys, if you take telling is all about, see, you look at, this is a style assumes the low group maturity. The people, the team members who are working under you, you assume that they don't know much. And you as the leader, you have to tell everything to your subordinates so that they will get the job done. Next point says the group has never worked together or it is an emergency. It's like a one-off thing. They have not worked together, but it's an emergency situation where you have to work together. Leadership style is high in task and low in social communication. It's basically to get the job done somehow. So all in all, what I'm trying to say is, here you would realize that there is some element of autocratic leadership here, like the top-down leadership that we were talking about yesterday. Top-down leadership is where the leader tells what's to be done and he doesn't consult the lower-level managers. He doesn't consult. He says how it needs to be done and he expects everyone to follow that. Autocratic. So telling also, you can see that in this telling style, under situational leadership, you could see this particular feature. So it's very somewhat similar to autocratic, I would say. Then comes selling. So first one was telling, then comes the selling style. Here's how and why. The selling style assumes moderate group maturity in terms of task familiarity. The group has spent a little time working together. Leader communication is high in task and low in social emotional. One-way communication. The style must be used in the honest and forthright manner. The leader must be convincing or nobody will buy what the leader is selling. It is often used to sell policies or instructions from higher levels. So, selling is like, it's very similar to this transactional leadership that we were talking about, where whatever said to the group, whatever that you instruct, whatever the commands that you give, you tell it with a reason. You tell why it's done. If you give a task to your group to do, you tell why it's done. Why are you asking them to work like that? So everything has a reason behind it. So that's the selling style, right? It's very similar to the transactional leadership, if I'm not mistaken. Consulting style will work this out together. Consulting is like the democratic style. I hope you can remember that. The democratic style of leadership will always ask opinions of your employees. Well, we are going to launch a new product like this, what do you think? We are going for a plan like this, what do you think? We are going to restructure your organization, what do you think? So you get opinions and you get suggestions from everyone. So that's the consulting style. So telling, selling, and consulting. Consulting style assumes moderate group maturity in terms of task familiarity. Leaders receives input from the group. The leader will ask for input from the group. So you get the opinion, you get their input, their suggestions, their view, their perspective, you get everything. The leader demonstrates to subordinates that their inputs are valued. That means whatever the suggestion that you take, the leader shows that, look, whatever their suggestions are valued. It's taken into account. So places like Toyota would be a classic example for consulting. As I said, roughly around 2,500 to 3,000 proposals, I'm not exactly sure about the number, are reviewed each year on quality improvement. They call it as quality change. I think I would have quoted this example before. Leaders' communication is low in task and high in socio-emotional. The leader must have high levels of confidence in the group. The leader makes the ultimate decision on how the task is handled. This style of leadership is very similar to the democratic style of leadership which we learned yesterday. The democratic style of leadership is where the leaders, the top managers, they are the ones who finalize the decision, but they consult the lower level managers. There is another term that we use for this. We also call this as the participatory style. Democratic or participatory style. As far as the situational leadership theory is concerned, it is very similar to this consulting part. So now guys, if you look at all these things that I am trying to say, likewise, there are so many areas which looks the same. Same thing. Now, if you can identify this similarity, that would enhance your learning. When I say enhance your learning, that would be easy for you to remember. Rather than just memorizing the points. You cannot pass this subject if you memorize whatever the points that you have in your textbook. Because, the questions are not like what, why, how. Those are not the questions. What is situational leadership? Right? Now, if a question was like, what is situational leadership? There are two types of students who would pass the exam. A student who has memorized that particular portion and who doesn't understand it. Now, there are so many students who go for this particular subject, who do these subjects, assuming that if you memorize or if you can keep it in your mind, you can pass this subject. A subject like this, no. Right? Subject like this is very difficult. If the questions were like, what is situational leadership? 5 marks. What is marketing mix? Explain. 6 marks. Then, a person who has memorized this, he has already memorized, so he just tries to recall and he starts writing. But he doesn't understand that. A person who has memorized. But a person who has understood it, who knows, will be able to answer a question where they say, okay, explain the application of situational leadership to X company with reference to the scenario given. Then what happens? Then you have gone through the scenario. You know there is a problem in this particular scenario. There are some issues. There is a storyline. There is something happening in this business. And then you start recalling what you have learned in your notebook or tudes or whatever it is. And then you are able to apply it to the given case. You have learned what situational leadership is, and there are 4 elements. You try to look at the scenario and start applying it, and then that is the answer that's going to score a lot of marks. If you rewrite what's there in the textbook, as I told on the very first day, this is what we call as brain dumping. Brain dumping is writing the same thing that you see in the textbook in your answer booklet without referring to the scenario, without application. So a question paper which requires the application skill, a question paper where you need to apply your knowledge, how can you pass a paper like that by merely memorizing? I think even you will agree with me that it doesn't work that way. Right? So, I had a chat with a couple of students in the past batches as well. I can remember one student said that he had been continuously getting, 14 marks, 18, 22, and he has been and that was his range. And he said after he came for this program, he understood, what's the answer structure should be and how we need to write answers. Then he got some input on that, and he was happy about, how it was done. So I think every one of you all who are present today, one thing which I would like to tell you is, now at the end of the day, every one of you all are here, and whoever is watching through the webinar, you are following all these lectures so that you get a proper input, so that you write a proper answer at the exam day and you get the pass mark. So that's the end objective. So to do that, you have to play your cards right. You have only a very few resources with you. One is time, right? And of course your lecture notes. In the sense, if you have gone for a tuition provider, the notes that you have. If you are doing a self-study, the study text. So you have very few cards to play. Time, I would say, is the most important and the most significant resource that you have, which is a massive constraint for you, because you don't have enough time, you are working and blah, blah, blah. So I would like to remind you again about what you need to do from today onwards until the exam day. I think I told this before, but I would like to remind you again. That is, go through the past papers and skim through the past papers and see what are the most popular concepts that have been tested in the past, and list them down. Further, you can go through the other subjects, you can go through the subjects which is parallelly done at this level in other qualifications such as CIMA and ACCA. For CIMA, the subject is E3. E3 is the subject at the strategic level, which is very similar to this. You can take E3 and E2 also. E2 is in the managerial level. E3 is in the strategic level. Both more or less are okay. Then you list down the topics. And the other thing is, if you want to see whether X topic is in this syllabus or not, you know what to do. If you have the study text, please get the study text, and if you turn to the last page, you will see the index page. In the last page, you see the index. Now, if you see a particular concept, now let's say the topic is situational leadership. So in the index, you go to L, and under L, see whether leadership theories are there. That means it's there in the syllabus. So that is how you find whether this is in the syllabus or not. You turn to in the study text, you turn to the last page, and then you see the index page. In the index page, you go through it one by one. I am sure every one of you are aware of that, but for the ones who are not aware, that is how you check whether a particular topic is in the syllabus or not. And then you list down the most popular topics. Then what do? Then you start studying them. How do you study? Of course, if you have your notes, you go through that. If you are studying from the study text, whatever said and done, you will have to do some mind maps or short notes or whatever it is, because it's not practical for you to study from the entire study text. Whatever the short note or mind map that you prepare, you will have it with you, and you will be going through that on a repetitive basis. Then naturally it will be in your mind, because that's how the mind works. Now the thing is that, now if you take certain models, there are certain points that you have to memorize. The meaning of those points you need to know. Not by heart, but you should know the meaning. Now, for example, if you take marketing mix, there are 7 P's. 7 P's you have to memorize, not the meaning. When you say 7 P's, there is one: price, product, price, place, promotion, the 4 P's. So you should know by like that you need to know. Now, if they say marketing mix, if you try to recall what's marketing mix, and if you can't remember the P's, then you have a problem. But what is product, you should not memorize the paragraphs or whatever the bullet points that you see, that you should not memorize. Product, what is product, you need to have a rough idea. Is it a product? No, what is product? Product is it a service or is it a good? Is it a basic product or a unique product? Used in special circumstances or normal circumstances? Things like that. If it's price, what type of price? Is it penetration, differentiation, or premium, bundle, psychological pricing? These are the pricing mechanisms. Those you need to have a good idea. You can't memorize those. If you memorize, you can't apply it for the scenario. So likewise, the memorizing parts, you will have to write it in your mind map. So then, and finally, you have to write some answers to see your speed. So you have to do some mock exam, at least one mock exam with the time constraints that you have. Listing down topics according to the past papers, doing the mind maps, and then practice of answer writing. Once you do that, I don't see any reason for you to fail this exam. That is what you need. Majority of the students who fail the exam, see, I would say there are many reasons behind that. Now you can't say student failed this exam because he didn't study. That's not the answer for that. A student will fail due to so many reasons, this subject. One reason, not knowing how to write a proper answer. Not knowing how you need to write the answer according to the requirement. That would be, I would say, a good 70% of students fail because of that. You have written an answer for a question that you thought, not what the examiner is asking for. Then, second point, student has studied very well. In the sense, the student has memorized very well. If you ask about, let's say, Porter's 5 forces, he will tell all 5 forces. He will tell even the sub-points under 5 forces. But he doesn't understand the real meaning behind 5 forces. When you say bargaining power of customer, he knows that there is an element called bargaining power of customer. But he doesn't know what exactly bargaining power is. He is unable to explain it to a third party. That means lack of understanding. So Porter's 5 forces, he knows everything. Threat from new entrants, bargaining power of the customers, likewise. Threat of substitutes, likewise. But he doesn't know how to explain that. What he says is bargaining power, he tells the exact thing that you see in the textbook. That will not make you pass, because that hinders your ability of applying. So application is the most critical element in the 25-mark questions. Even in the 10-mark questions, try to be scenario oriented. We have discussed several incidents where you cannot be scenario oriented. Then what you do is you try to write the name of the company regularly, and you try to make it as much as possible related to the scenario. But if it's a 25-mark question, and in the case that they give, more or less, the questions the answers that you build can be related to a scenario. Coming back to this, consulting is very similar to democratic style. The last one is joining. So telling, selling, consulting, and joining. Up to group to handle it. That is like what? Laissez-faire. You let the group do it. You are just a person who's like a facilitator. You tell how this is done and you let the group do it. In yesterday's lecture, this is like the laissez-faire leadership strategy. The joining style assumes high group maturity and knowledge of the task. The group has extensive experience working together. Now, if you take joining style or laissez-faire, I forgot because we didn't have time to discuss about that yesterday. That was the last leadership style that we discussed. Now, laissez-faire is, you tell them this is what we want to do, you all do it. The deadline is on this day, do it. And the leader just walks away. The team members are the ones who, do it properly. Example, the leadership style at Google would be very similar to this. In Google, you don't check the arrival and departure. You don't check what's the attire. You don't check the progress of that particular task given. You don't check anything. They check only whether this guy has adhered to the deadline and whether he has done the task properly after the deadline is over. Why? Because they say the employees who are working here, we have got the best out of the best. We conduct many interviews and we have filtered the best people to come and work for us. We don't need to monitor them. There is no need for us to monitor them. We give them the task, they work on their own. We only monitor whether they have adhered to the deadline. Classic example to the laissez-faire leadership. And according to the situational leadership theory, it is like joining. Now guys, if I was studying this for joining, I will not, of course, I will read all of this if this was there in the textbook. But I would say joining style example, leadership strategy at Google. That is how I would remember it. And when this comes to the exam, I recall, okay, joining, okay, then I have written Google. When I say Google, I remember, okay, Google is where you get really competent employees. They know their job very well. So it's the same thing. Group maturity and knowledge in group maturity, knowledge of the task. The group has extensive experience working together. The task is well defined, very clear. This is what you have to do. Right. So then once I see Google, I know, I see, okay, this is the style. Then all those points come to my mind. And then since I know what I am looking for, I read the scenario to see how I can apply this. So there should be one hint. I am looking for that hint. Once I see the hint, I attack to that. So that is how it works. The decision boundaries are clear and time is available for the group. That's like the deadline. So I think you get the idea there. The group has the ultimate decision on how the task is handled. The leader communication is low in task and socio-emotional. There you go. So this is what the leadership style is all about. Now let's go to question number 15 and read the question and let's go through the answers. This is the question for 10 marks. This is the first 10 mark question that we are doing because we did a lot of 25 marks. Because my idea was if you can handle 25 marks, handling a 10 mark question is not a big issue. So let's see even how that is done so that you have a good idea as to how you need to pitch your answer. Question number 15. The question is explain to TR with reference to the theory of different management and leadership styles he could adopt to help him to become more effective in his role. So maybe TR is a person, let's see. Question number 15. TR has recently been promoted to his first management position. TR is a person. He has been promoted. In the past, he very much enjoyed working as part of a team, but is having some difficulty in adapting to his new role as a leader of a team. Now, he's a leader of a team. Initially, he was part of a team. In his recent appraisal, he has acknowledged that his style of management is not effective in all instances. In particular, he feels that he has not been very flexible in dealing with some of the issues that he had faced. Not flexible. Now that is a trait, feature, which you can quote in your answer. That means this guy is a very strict person. That is the meaning of not flexible. No? If he says something, you have to do it somehow in that particular way. You don't have any margins for certain amendments, changes likewise. So then in your leadership strategy, this is like, this guy would fall under like telling. This guy would fall under telling. What we would recommend is something like, consulting. He has identified that he would benefit from a leadership training to help him better understand an alternative style of management that he could adopt to him, to help him develop to become more effective in his role. So now guys, once you read this question, now if you look at the summary of this scenario, they talk about a person called TR. Now that's the other thing that you have to understand also. After you had read the question, in your mind, you should be able to quickly summarize this entire story within 1 minute, which you can do if you really read it properly. If you read it properly, in 1 minute, you might not be able to recap each and every element of the scenario. But now, for example, you should be able to tell this to a friend of yours without even reading it. In the sense, you read it once without going through sentence by sentence. You should be able to tell this. Now, for example, if you were studying together, let's say you're in a group study kind of a thing, and if you're studying together, what you can do is, for the 25 marks, so you read the question once and you ask, you just elaborate it to your friend. You tell, this is what they have said in the scenario. They talk about a company like this, these are their products, they have a problem like this is what they say at the past. And then your friend maybe could evaluate it for you and say, okay, I think you're correct, but you missed this, or you would have added this, or something like that. So that would, I would say, it's like scenario skimming the scenario. Being able to understand the entire story in one snapshot. Now for this, I would say, after reading it once, what I understand is, there is a guy called TR. He was promoted. Initially he was working as part of the team. Now he is the head of the team. He has some problems in this leadership. He self-identified that. He says he is not flexible. He wants to go for a training. Why does he want to go for a training? So that he will be, good in his role. That's all. That's all. Nothing more than that. That is all that is it. Now it's in your mind. So the question, now you read the question, the requirement. Explain to TR, now you know who TR is. With reference to a theory, the different management leadership styles he could adopt. Well, the only thing that you can pluck from this small scenario is that they say he was not flexible, which is like a small hint to show that this guy was using like an autocratic style, like telling. In the situational leadership telling, or from what we learned yesterday, what we call as an autocratic leadership, like top down. He tells what you to do. He tells you what you need to do, and he doesn't consult. He's not flexible, right? Sometimes even bureaucratic can be also come under that. So what you have to do is, for 10 marks now, you pick 3 good. You try to pick, let's say, 3 or 4 leadership styles to explain the leadership style that he is using now. Maybe you can talk about autocratic leadership style or the telling, selling one. I think I have used that. And you can say this is what he is using and this is not effective. Why? Because of this. I would recommend a leadership style like democratic or transactional or something like consulting or selling or something like that, because it would benefit the company like this. So you will always have to use TR, because your answer should center upon TR. So your answer is like you are advising TR, no? You are giving some tips to TR. You are helping TR to be effective in his role. So that essence or that reflection needs to be in your answer. So you are writing the answer as if you are helping TR, this guy. Anyway, so moving forward, a number of researchers have contributed to the theories which have been developed to explain the leadership strategies. One such theory that could help TR in understanding an alternative style is Tannenbaum's and Schitt's continuum leadership behaviors, so which is very similar to what we learned. The continuum is based on a degree of authority used by the managements, and Tannenbaum and Schmidt range various styles of continuum leadership strategies. So this is a leadership strategy that we did not discuss, but let's move into a leadership strategy that we did discuss, which is this telling, selling, consulting, and joining. so that it's easy for me to explain it to you, because when it comes to leadership strategies, you have a lot. And let's go through this one by one. This theory identifies four different styles labeled telling, selling, consulting, and joining. So tells, sells, consults, and joins, which reflect the degree of authority used by a manager and the degree of freedom to the subordinates. Now, just let's see how I have explained telling to TR. Is where TR would make all decisions and tell the subordinates what to do. The advantage of this style is that decisions can be made comparatively quickly. The downside of the staff may resent simply being told the decisions of TR, and this could result of getting compliance rather than commitment from his staff. Good side and the bad side. This is like being a bit autocratic. Now guys, most importantly, if you look at this answer, you see that I am writing this answer as if I am trying to give advice to TR. So that needs to be shown in your answer. So as I said, if it's explain, illustrate, analyze, or evaluate, or whatever it is, it's all about bringing the good side and the bad side. That is something that you should remember as a norm. Good side and the bad side, showing both sides of the coin. That will always help you. That shows that your answer has critical thinking. Sells is where TR would make the decision, but rather than just announcing it or telling his staff, he would try to persuade them to accept it. By, meaning of selling is telling the good side about his task, explaining why they should follow. It's like transactional. As it tells, this style means that decisions can be made quickly by TR, who would have to use his skills of persuasion in selling the decision. For example, you say, look, next quarter, I want you all to achieve, let's say next year I want you to achieve a profit after tax of 100 million. And then in a corporate training session or whatever it is, you are trying to sell it by telling why they should achieve 100 million. And telling them the benefits that they could get if they achieved 100 million. We are a company like this. We have been doing so and so. We can perform well, right? And if we bring the profit levels up to 100 million, this is the level of bonus that you would get. That would upgrade our company. We'll have more market. You're selling. You're selling your task. You're telling why you should follow them. You're telling your group members why they need to follow you, persuading them, pushing them. That's selling. Consulting is where TR does not make decisions by himself until he has presented the problems to his staff, hears their views and suggestions, and then adopts the solution. So guys, basically, what I am writing here is what is in the textbook only, what you saw before. What's the difference here? I am writing it as if I am giving an advice to this person. So that element makes me scenario oriented. So whoever is reading the answer looks, okay, this guy is really giving some advice to TR. This looks like he's giving some tips to TR, which is what we are expecting as in the answer also. Rather than just saying, consulting is a style. Now you can write the answer like this one. Consulting is a style which involves getting the views of your subordinates. Therefore, a leader should, and you use the word, the leader. The leader should get the views of the subordinates prior to implementing a strategy. You write like that. Then you are writing in general. Instead of the word leader, you can substitute it with TR. TR should get the views of the staff, get their opinions, perspectives prior to implementing whatever it is. Joining is where TR would define the problem, but the delegates and the decision-making power to his staff. He would indicate the limits within which the decision must be made. Staff should feel empowered in the decision-making process And there you go. However, they may be disregard the limits of TR, could find a decision made which is unacceptable to the organization. Depending on how it is handled, staff may feel that TR is not taking any responsibility. That's the bad side of joining. Now you know what joining is. Joining is like laissez-faire. Where you are, it's like the style of Google. You ask everyone to, you give the task and they do it for you. They are the ones who, does the task for you. You are just like a third party person just looking whether they did it or not. That is laissez-faire, which you should do when you have a really set of skillful employees who knows their job well, lot of experience. They have worked together. You saw the attributes. Now what's the bad side of this? What I'm trying to say is, if by chance TR does this, the employees might see him as a person who doesn't know anything. Sorry. The employees might see him as a person, who doesn't show us the correct path. This guy is just there for the sake of being a leader. So that's the bad side of that. So we have to show both sides of the coin. So I think as you get the idea, that's it. That's the type of answer that you should get for a question like this. You can't be writing answers under every leadership style. You select one, 10 marks. So if you can select this, it has 4 elements anyway. So you assume that they will give you 2.5 for each theory element. So for telling, selling, joining, and consulting, 2.5 gets your 10 marks. And how much do you need to write? You decide that based on the time that you need for a mark. The number of minutes you can spend for a mark, multiply, you get the time. So you will have to balance the time accordingly. Whatever said and done, you should not continue more than the time allocated. Why? Because you are jeopardizing the time that you can use for another question which might be easy. Still you don't know. So some important points for you to note, that is, once you get the paper, you have to first attempt the question that is most easy for you, that you think that is easy for you. So then what you do is you skim through the requirement. The requirements are generally, it's in a box or highlighted, it says required. So you read the requirement. Then you pick a theory which you find very, very comfortable. That's the one that you have to do first. But you have not read the scenario. You have decided it by only looking at the requirement. So for whatever reason, you should not exceed the time that you allocate for that. Because although you thought the second or third question that you are going to attempt is tough because of the particular model, once you read the scenario, you might realize, my goodness, the application is very simple. So then in vain. So that's how you need to, that's how you need to play by the ear. Anyway, I intend to do another question related to marketing because, marketing and HR are the most important ones. So I think question number 16 is also on marketing. Question number 16, yes. So this was another question I added on marketing mix, and it has this e-business part as well, which is one prominent area in your syllabus, e-procurement. So guys, can you please read question number 16? And I'll give you some time to read question number 16, and afterwards we'll discuss. Please go through question number 16. Evaluate the use of e-marketing at Meritech to enhance each of the following 5 elements of the marketing mix that's given after a space: price, promotion, place, process, and physical evidence. As you know, price is, what type of pricing they are using. It's like, is it premium, penetration, to psychological, to bundle, likewise. Discounted. Promotion is what type of offers do you have, like buy one, get one free kind of stuff. Place is the distribution channel. Where is this product available? That's distribution. The distribution channel simply means the place. Processes are the procedures you follow as a customer to purchase the product. Physical evidence is the unique attributes, the standardization that you have, having the logo, having a unique color, chartered accounts having, red and white, having the logo in every document, letterhead, likewise. That's physical evidence. So let's read the question and see. When they say evaluate, what's for and what's against, good side and bad side. Question number 16, introduction. Meritech is a bespoke furniture company making unique pieces of furniture to clients. Furniture to client specifications, so customized furniture production. The products are manufactured using a combination of highly technical machinery and skilled craftsmen. Meritech, so this is something to do with product. Are they talking about product? No. So these will be valuable information if we were to talk about product in the marketing mix. We don't have to discuss about product. Meritech currently Meritech's current clients are wealthy individuals who want a custom-built piece of furniture of their own homes. Wealthy, high-end market. Definitely premium pricing should be in your mind. Wealthy, high. Because they say wealthy, definitely not cost leadership pricing or penetration. Definitely we can go for premium price as far as pricing is concerned. The company has one showroom where samples of bespoke pieces of furniture are displayed. Showroom is the place. That's the place, if that's where they're selling. The sample pieces are not for sale. So maybe you can improve on that. The company wishes to implement a planned growth strategy. To enable this, the company has increased its manufacturing capacity with the aim of selling to corporate clients such as hotels. Enhancing the manufacturing capacity can be taken under process, but still we should move forward. Producing a great number of bespoke pieces for the same client would deliver some economies of scale. The production manager claims this strategy would reduce setup times and increase procurement discounts, as raw materials would be bought in bulk. Definitely about some valuable information for your processes, how it's done. See, if the setup time goes down, maybe you can get a lot of products done in a shorter time period, where you don't have nothing to worry about, lead time, or, basically giving the furniture to the client at the promised date. So that would ensure good procedures. Procurement, you know what procurement is? Procurement is anything related to purchasing is procurement. Buying anything related to manufacture. High quality materials are used in bespoke furniture manufacturing. Meritech uses a specialist procurement policy to source specific materials, such as high quality pieces of oak wood of given dimensions. They are using good raw material. That's what they are trying to say. This is an expensive method of procurement and can also delay production. That's bad for processes. That's a bad side. Now, the way in which they do procurement, they say it can delay production, which is bad. If the customers get the product late, it's not good. That directly comes under processes. As order to deliver time is already high, Maratech is keen to reduce this procurement time. The production manager has suggested the implementation of e-procurement to support planned business growth. He is considering moving to e-procurement, but is keen to ensure such a move will not lead to a lower quality of raw materials. If e-procurement is adopted, the company will recruit a full-time procurement manager and cancel its agreement with the specialist procurement company. So they are going for e-procurement, where everything is, done through automated streams. Marketing, until now, Meritech has relied predominantly on word of mouth. So there is no such promotions or advertising or anything. It's just word of mouth, which is like very poor and weak in promotions. Most new clients have commissioned pieces of furniture after seeing a bespoke piece in an existing client's home, word of mouth. High quality brochures are produced annually and are available on request. Okay, they have brochures as well, but given only on request. That's also bad. That means you are not aware of your target market. If you were aware, you would have sent it to your target market. So you don't know who likes to buy your product. You don't have a database. That's very poor promotions. They are also placed in displayed exhibitions in the showroom. A new marketing manager has been recruited and has been tasked with analyzing whether e-marketing could enhance the current marketing mix. The marketing manager has also identified the following. Right. Visualization of the product. That means seeing the product. Let's see what they're talking about. Because the products are bespoke, it is difficult for a client to visualize what the finished product will look like. This can sometimes lead to a failure to make a sale as the customer is not sure what they are getting. So they say it's bespoke furniture. So until the product comes to an end, you have no idea as to what the product looks like because it's a customized product. So they have a problem as far as this is directly coming under product. Also can be taken under processes as well. Pricing. As materials are not sourced until the design is agreed, it is difficult to provide accurate upfront prices. Maratech currently uses cost plus pricing, but the marketing manager understands that this may deter some clients. Yes. Now, cost plus pricing is a management accounting. You have cost plus, like marginal cost plus, full cost plus. This is cost plus pricing. Markup, margin, likewise. This is management account. But from a marketing viewpoint, well, you have to look at certain points. So therefore, just cost plus is not going to work. Cost plus definitely, if that is the way forward, of course you can consider. But depending on the nature of the product, you have to change your pricing strategy. Showroom. There is only one showroom and it is not considered worthwhile opening more, as more pieces of furniture would have to be created specially to furnish it. Therefore, it is not possible for many potential clients to see the quality of the furniture. So there is a problem in this place thing as well. After sales support is another area that can be discussed under processes. As there is no guaranteed delivery time for the products, Maratech provides production progress updates to their clients on request, which is also bad. You should, regularly tell them about the progress. There is no guaranteed delivery time also. That is also bad. Now guys, when you order things from Amazon or eBay, they give you a tracking device, a tracking, what do you call it? It's like a tracking set of information. Now if you order something, let's say from eBay or Amazon, it will say, today it was taken to this particular port. Now your product is at this particular port. Now it has landed to Singapore. Now it has landed to Sri Lanka. It should be delivered to you within 2 weeks. The thing is, when it comes to Sri Lanka, that postal service is not working. Because that e-thing, it doesn't work here. So when I ordered my first, whatever the stuff, I thought it was still coming and I thought it was getting late. and then the postman comes and delivers. It was a book or kind of a thing. The postman comes and delivers it. So it doesn't work there. But if you were in a place like Singapore, until it is delivered, they tell you, this is where it is now, this is where it is now. You call it USPC, and it comes, if it's from United States. Anyway, it says Maratech provides production progress updates. Now, a client is spending a lot of money and asking them to produce a furniture equipment according to a customized design. So it is the company's duty to update him that, we have finished this much, this is how it looks, on this day we can give it to you. When the client phones or emails, the production team photograph the work in progress, send pictures to the client. The client can also visit the manufacturing plant to check the progress, but this requires prior arrangement due to legal, health and safety requirements. Okay. This entry. That is only on update, on request, sorry. Maratech intends to remain a producer of bespoke furniture items. It does not wish to produce standard products or produce to inventory. This is like just in time, no? Producing according to the customer's needs. The only non-commissioned pieces of furniture it produces for its display, the only non-commissioned piece of furniture it produces are for display in the showroom. So the ones that you see in the showroom are not for customers, it's just for display purposes. So now you get a good idea. So well, if I just recap it for you, there's a company called Maratech. They are into furniture, high quality furniture. They have a good procurement, they have a procurement policy of getting things, but it sometimes can delay. They have just one showroom and they have furniture equipment laid there. But in the recent past, they are looking forward as to how they can, implement e-marketing. And there are several things that they're taking into account. So it's like this. Now, once you read the scenario like this, this part has this part has this. Roughly, you can have a good idea about what each paragraph tells you. So, guys, let's see what this is all about. So evaluate. The question says evaluate the use of e-marketing to Maratech under the different. So let's talk about price. Maratech uses cost plus pricing. See, that is directly from the scenario. We saw that. Definitely you have to quote. They are using cost. That is what they are doing now. So now I think you get the idea. If there is something that directly relates to the requirement, if there is something in the scenario which is directly hitting to our requirement, directly linked with our requirement, you have to mention that. That shows that you have read the scenario well, which may cause some lost sales as the cost is unknown at the time of agreement with the customer. The use of external procurement company and the procurement of small orders of specific material is likely to increase the cost, therefore lead to higher prices. Whilst the high prices are not necessarily a problem, the inability to set the price when negotiating with the customer is not ideal. Yeah. So guys, since it is customized, since you don't know what the cost is until you finish it off, sometimes it's not a good deal for you to go for cost plus. The use of e-marketing will require Maratech to be more specific with regards to pricing, although it may display a contact us for price. Instruction online, this is e-marketing through websites and all this stuff. It would need to be able to provide price within a reasonable time. Should it introduce e-procurement, then price links could be introduced to make things quicker. E-marketing could be used to offer special discounts on large orders or on pricing for subsequent items of furniture following a previous order. So now this is how e-marketing is going to help you. So look at how the answer structure is. You are telling what they are using now and the bad side of that. Then they are using e-marketing. Through e-marketing, how can you talk about price? So you can have a tab saying contact us for pricing. And under that, if you are having e-procurement, which is a database or automated streams, of course the price can be linked to this. So all in all, you see how you need to face your answer. Moving on, promotions. Maratec's current promotion model may work for small companies, but if the company wants to grow, then it is crucial area for change. The current method of promotion is limited. The use of expensive brochures means that all potential customers see the same products and the company only produces a new brochure every year. See, I pinpointed this when we went through that. So promotions are very weak. E-marketing allows individualization or personalized marketing. The website could record visitors' click patterns and use targeted promotions based on patterns detected. For example, if a potential customer browses tables and charts, then Maratec could send them an email focused on these products. So if there is a customer who has bought tables and charts, if you come up with a new design, you first send it to him because he has been purchasing those types of products. So promotions are very weak and you have to pinpoint them. That is your analytical skill. And then further, you need to address the issue by mentioning if e-marketing was brought on or if e-marketing was on the cards, then how is it going to change this scenario? So that is what we are going to do here. Further, the reach of promotion is also limited either to those who have acquaintance with an own of Maratec piece of furniture or those who attend certain exhibitions. While Maratec has a focused differentiation strategy, this may be appropriate. So basically, what I'm trying to say is the other way of making people aware of the product is through word of mouth. That is what they're doing now. So since it's for high net individuals, since you're selling this product for people who are rich, it's like a focused differentiator. It's a niche market. It's not mass marketing. It's a niche market. Differentiation under that cost leadership, using the cost leadership terms. So you say that word of mouth thing might work. It might work. But still, guys, if you take companies such as Vogue Jewelers, they are also differentiated niche. Don't they do marketing? Of course they do, but targeted marketing. Now, I still get these messages of Vogue Jewelers. They wish you for your birthday and all, as if you are a very known person to them. No, because they have a few things which I bought and now they have my contact details. So, they target you. So likewise. So that's what we are talking here. That is how it should be done, promotions. However, Maratec is looking to increase its sales, including on expansion segments to reach corporate clients. Online promotions may be a good way to make initial contact with the potential customers. Yes, online promotions is a nice way to do that. So I think that's very clear. So about promotions, now you get a good idea. Now guys, it's like this. There are a lot of points here. I don't think you will be able to write all of these at the exam day. But with the time that you have, first of all, try to have, now this particular question, answer structure is so straightforward, right? The answer structure is so straightforward. If I just quickly write this up to you. So this is for 15 marks. Man. So 15 marks. So you start with price. First paragraph about the current situation and an implication. And then how they can use e-marketing and how they can improve. Same story for what we just finished was promotions. So guys, for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there are 5 maybe. So maybe they give 3 marks. 3 marks for this. Maybe 1.5 to explain the current situation another 1.5 marks for the initiation of e-marketing. So this is how you need to write your answer. Now this is very straightforward. There are some questions where it's a bit tricky for you to understand what should be the structure. For these promotions, you write about the current, about brochures, they sell brochures, there is no targeted promotions. And then if they use e-marketing, what will happen? That is what you are writing. So price, promotion, likewise. But you can't write a lot, 15 marks. See that before you write the answer, quickly calculate. You can use your calculator, you can take your calculator, quickly calculate how much of time can I spend. Then divide it by 5 to see how much you can spend under each component. Stop at that time. Stop at that time. Then you know how much of time you can use for the benefits and for the cons. Or if you are writing both sides, in this case, current situation and e-marketing. That's how we are going to segregate it. Moving forward, place. As Maratec produces bespoke furniture, it does not make sense to have many showrooms, as each piece of furniture displayed only exhibits the style of Maratec and is not for sale. To open further stores would lead to high addition. Yeah. Now, looking at the way in which they are doing business just in time, having showrooms is not the best way to go, because it will have a lot of overhead cost and maintenance. Because everything happens based on an order. It's like lean manufacturing. However, by using e-marketing, the market reach is wide, and Maratec used to make it global clients could purchase products on the condition that Maratec will support transactions from the country and provide shipping to that destination. So even you can go for a global scenario where you can sell products on go. But the thing is, you have to have your resources right. You got to have your, you have to have your support activities right. So shipping and all of these stuff. So that's about place. Processes. Many of the processes excluding the actual production of furniture could benefit from the use of e-marketing techniques. The client's designs could be uploaded and progress showed when the client logs into their own account. See, now currently what they do is they wait for the client to ask about their progress. Then they take a picture and send it. So what you can do is, what I'm trying to say in e-marketing, you give them an ID and a password after they become a client of yours, and then you regularly update it in your website. So if the client wants to know what's the progress, he can log in and see, okay, this is what's happened. Which is very similar to what eBay, Amazon does when we order something. So that is your knowledge that you are trying to apply. Details of the material source and the expected date of completion could be stored up to date. Corporate clients could have access to reorder screens, allowing them to place orders for duplicates of its previously produced products. So yeah, so you can have reorder screens, things like this. That would make the system more efficient, processes. Physical evidence, actually I didn't, physical evidence, I rarely saw something from the scenario, so let's go through this. This is critical for Maratec success. As items are bespoke, there is no finished product to view before purchase. Therefore, evidence of the previous success are important. Images, items may be placed. Yeah, so basically, what I'm trying to say here is, I am trying to narrate the physical evidence by looking at how the e-marketing thing can help them. As at now, it's very little things that we can pluck from the scenario regarding physical evidence. So in the website, having images with the company's logo, this will help the visualization for clients. As more images can upload their traditional brochures, Maratec could also post evidence of the quality in the form of quality standards awarded, the supplier quality status. Additionally, the word-of-mouth promotions may be extended through physical evidence with customer reviews posted. That's very good. Now, guys, once you go to a website, you see reviews, no? This website is good. I got my products on time. Superb place, superb supplier. Now if you go to this Facebook and if you go to now, people tag you, in certain restaurants. Because now people, that is what, first thing that you do is once you go to a classy restaurant, people do is they, now Google location is there. So they want to show that now they are in Hilton or Cinnamon Grand. You see that. The first thing people do is they go and they put Google location. Nice to have a nice beer at Cinnamon Grand. So the reason is just to show that now I am at Cinnamon Grand. And it's a big thing for them or something like that. So once you click that and once you go to Cinnamon Grand, now let's say whatever the pub that, Cheers pub, Cinnamon Grand, then you will see customer reviews. Nice restaurant, very nice environment. You will see the reviews. So that's part of physical evidence, which is giving some good insights about the product. Now actually we use that in our institute also. Now once you come to the website of our company, you will see, we call it testimonials. Even in the place where I lecture, you will see that. So once you come to the corporate website, under each lecturer, how good is he, there you will see student testimony with their name you get. For high achievers who have scored well, who have won prizes, so that person's picture and the lecturer's picture is also there. And the person commenting about that he was so good and blah, blah, blah. That's a testimonial. So that's part of physical evidence which you can use. If Maratech used advanced manufacturing techniques such as computer-aided design and manufacturing, 3D images which can assist visualization, ensure inquiries are converted into actual orders. So that's like, moving on with technology. So I think you get a good idea as to how this evaluation should be done in the marketing mix. Let's quickly go through this part B as well so that we could finish off this question. Please read part B. It says, describe the principles of e-procurement and explain the benefits and risks to man. Right, how many marks? 10 marks. Describe the principles of e-procurement and explain the benefits and risks for Maratech. What is your answer structure? 10 marks. So, 10 marks. Describe the principles of e-procurement. Principles of e-procurement. You write your answer. Maybe they give it out of 5 marks. Explain the benefits and the risks to Maratech. E-procurement, benefits and risks. And you write whatever. Maybe they give you 5 marks there. So you have clearly broken down the requirement and you are writing exactly to the point. Okay, he wants to know about the principles of e-procurement. Okay, fine. These are the reasons. Good side and the bad side of e-procurement to Maratech. And then you have. So there is no chance that you would deviate and you would write something else. So guys, principles of e-procurement. E-procurement makes use of electronic forms of communication to simplify the entire production process. It relies upon connections between suppliers, purchasing systems, everything being automated, as I said. It's an automated, e-system. The focus on getting the entire procurement process right, materials are delivered in the right quantity, quality, right price, right seller, right time. Everything is accurate. Most e-procurement systems require registrations and logging so that both supply and buyer details are sorted. It has administrative convenience. E-procurement can be approached in a number of different ways, B2B, marketplace, suppliers, buyers, straight through. The relationship and the contractual relationship is with the third party, all the buyers and suppliers. So e-procurement is where it's an outsourcing function. And moving forward, the third party sites usually focus on one industry. So this is about the e-procurement thing. So principles, I don't think we need to, there is a lot about how you need to fix an e-procurement system, how you get an outsourced party, likewise. Now guys, let's discuss about this part. Now see benefits. Or you can break it down into 3 sections. Benefits of e-procurement and risk. That is also possible. There are many benefits of e-procurement, although not all would be applicable to Maratech. Benefits for Maratech, not in general. This would certainly pass control of procurement process, who currently relies on third party, as Maratech uses specific materials for their products. It is important to have access to a wide choice of suppliers. Simultaneously, however, Maratech may build a relationship with certain suppliers, may suggest certain raw materials as they become available. So basically, you have a range of suppliers. You don't need to rely on one person. You have so many options. Even if you go for a tender or whatever the screening procedure, you will be benefited. You will not have sudden purchases, bulk buying, where you have to pay a lot of, these are the general benefits, but you can write it in relation to e-procurement and in relation to Maratech. And guys, the risks, let's quickly go on that. It is suggested that the procurement manager will only be recruited should the decision to be e-procurement go ahead. This may be a risky of e-procurement decision could be made without expert advice and procurement management. See, it's a technical thing. E-procurement is technical. It uses technology. So you need someone to operate that. If there is a technical fault and if everything goes for a 6, who is going to take the responsibility? That would damage the entire supply, damage the entire production process, and at the end of the day, if you can't meet the deadlines, you are losing customers. So in general, those are the points. So guys, I would like to wind up the session with that. So I hope the revision session was helpful for you. Thank you very much for attending this program. And finally, I would like to wish you the best of luck. All the best. Thank you.